Good day to everybody. Welcome to today's session, which is entitled 5G Visibility and Ensuring a Quality Data, Video and Voice Experience. This is going to be run as a panel, and we're pleased today to have a number of distinguished guests on the panel. First, I'd like to go to Shazad Merchant, who's CTO of Gigamon. Shazad.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Gordon, and thanks for having me here as part of this panel. My name is Shazad Merchant. I'm Chief Technology Officer at Gigamon. I've been here for about 7 years and keenly interested in all aspects of 5G as well as security as well.
Right, thanks, Shazad. And next we have Lorenzo Minelli, who's the head of network analytics at Nokia. Lorenzo.
Yeah, hello to everyone. Thanks for inviting me on the panel. My name is Lorenzo Minelli. I'm working with Nokia for Global Services Organization, where I'm leading a team focused on network analytics, so how we can use artificial intelligence to underpin telco business and challenges.
Excellent. And next we have Same Yamani, who's the CTO at Viavi. Over to you, Same.
Thanks, Gordon. Thanks. I'm happy to be here in this panel. And my name is Sami Yamani. I'm a CTO of Viavi Solutions. I lead a lot of the emergency technology within the company. And actually, we've been working on 5G since 2013, when it was just an idea.
Very cool. All right, thanks. Thanks, Sami. And next we have Dr. Michael Wilbaum. Walbaum, sorry.
Walbaum, yeah.
Sorry about that. Director,
no worries.
Director of Marketing at VoIP Future. So over to you, Michael.
Yeah, hello, my name is Michael Walbaum. I'm Product Marketing Manager at VoIP Future. I'm with the company for, I think, 11 years now. And yeah, we're also making steps into the 5G world, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. So welcome to everybody. So I'd just like to kick it off. I think I'll go to you, Lorenzo, first, if that's all right. I'll say, what do you see are the biggest challenges to operators in terms of 5G adoption?
Well, I mean, as we all know, 5G will bring an additional radio layer. But it's not simply an additional, radio layer on top. It's coming together with other technology on virtualization, on software-defined network, on, I would say, network slicing. But all these things are not just, present to increase the complexity, but to open, the 5G to the entire world and creating the 5G as the backbone for the full economy, underpinning other vertical or industrial thing. So in this sense, the network that has been defined once fit all, this era is ended, essentially. And all the 5G will be around the capability of the industry and the operators to meet the customer requirements and underpin specific applications. Yeah. And in this sense, of course, we will have a more complexity, but this complexity is driven by a higher level degree of flexibility or adaptability, and in some extent, in higher programmability. From this point of view, of course, despite the challenges on positioning the new system, I think that's what it's important, is really critical for operators. It's embrace a transformation, a digital transformation. Go for digitalization of their assets, right? To embrace AI, from my perspective, as the only way to manage the complexity, be able to, drive the programmability and ensure a proper quality of experience, and do this through, the leveraging of this big data platform, an open ecosystem, and with the aim to create an open industry ecosystem where partner operators, companies can interact, exchange, the sort of extreme competition. I think that especially the part related to the digital transformation, embrace the future and change the way of doing and the way of working will be, the critical and the key challenge on top and despite the clearly technical, complexity and technical challenges posed by the new technology.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's good points there. Thanks, Lorenzo. Same, would you like to add something to that? Same, your volume's disappeared.
Okay, yeah, can you see? Can you hear me now? Okay, no problem. Yeah, I was saying, as Lorenzo was saying, it's 5G offers a lot of opportunities, but it comes with challenges, as Lorenzo was saying. You know, one of the things we see was the operators embracing the 5G, and I agree with Lorenzo, they have to embrace the transformation. One of the things is the culture, because 5G really, to becoming programmable, you really need to connect all the different segments of the network. You know, we talk about there is a new radio, but there is also new front haul, new back haul, new core network, new edge network. And when you're gonna create a slice between them, you're gonna have to really connect all of these pieces together. And today, traditionally, managing a network like this, you always have silos, people who focusing on optimizing the radio, people focusing on optimizing the transport. But when you start looking at end-to-end from a network slice, this is where really you have to break the culture a little bit, break the silos, and look at it from a holistic point of view, because that's what really the challenge with 5G is: programmable on the fly, but all these pieces have to work together.
Yeah, that's a very good point there, Same. They do. Michael, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting what Sameh just said about the silos, because currently networks are run network here, core there, and IMS there. But in the end, I think we will need to take a more service oriented approach. And I think one thing that will come with 5G really is that we will have more and additional use cases and services, IoT, just as an example, that are run on top of the same network. And some of these services even having a more, having even priority over voice. And so I think the biggest challenge really will be to have the visibility to stay on top of what is going on in the network. We'll have more data, we'll have more services competing with each other for the same resources. So really, I think monitoring is the key aspect or the key challenge for 5G.
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to be not going to be as easy as it was in the past. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Michael. Suzanne, would you like to wrap up the comments on that question?
Yeah, thanks. I think all the panelists have provided good input. I think they're all spot on. Ultimately, 5G is complex. There are significant changes on the radio access network side. There are significant changes on the core side. And these are not evolutionary, but they're actually huge changes in terms of architecture. Everything from network slicing to NFV to control user plane separation to massive MIMO, small cells. There's a lot of changes happening in 5G, and so complexity is going to go up. I think the key to 5G deployment is to make sure that this is phased. Operators don't try to do it all in one shot, and that at every phase of the deployment, there is a clear visibility into the success factors, into the service assurance associated with those specific deployment phases and trials. But also there are ways to monetize as you go along, right? Because otherwise the 5G deployment would take far too long, right? With each phase, if you can find ways to monetize that phase, it will perhaps speed up the investment in 5G.
Yeah, that's true. Now it's probably one of the biggest challenges they have. All right, yeah, thanks, Shazad. So let's see, we'll take the next question. I think we'll start with you, Same, if that's okay. How can operators ensure that their services meet the expectations of subscribers and enable them to differentiate their offerings?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons we're looking at an acceleration in 5G. I think there is a lot of opportunity out there, both from the subscriber point of view, but also new verticals that's going to require very specific experiences that will differentiate between operators. I think this is one of the key parts, I think, as all the panelists were saying, is that when you start looking at how you manage these services and how you're going to guarantee them, you need to be able to understand the relationship between them. You need to be able to monitor and in real time react And I always say, 5G actually is going to bring an analogy to the human body. I mean, you need an orchestration system that I call it the nervous system of the 5G. And then you need the analytics and the optimization that will be the brain. With 5G, actually, the nervous system has to be really, really reactive, immediately with low latency, be able to react. And the analytics really need to, as Lorenzo was saying, adopt artificial intelligence and machine learning, because you're going to see unexpected results with a lot of these complexity. I think this is very important if you want to guarantee that these new verticals and the customers are getting the experience that they're expecting.
Oh, so true. Michael, would you like to add something to what Sami just said?
Yeah, I think we're on the same page here. It's not only about, I mean, one key to being able to react fast, as the nervous system, as Sami said, is also to follow a best of breed approach to monitoring in the end, because I don't think that this current one size fits all monitoring approach will suit the different services in the 5G domain. So this may work out in the beginning, but I think as soon as the 5G core comes in, we'll see an entirely different world. And then, if we're talking user experience, we're talking packet by packet inspection of what is going on. And then I think you will quickly come to boundaries of the current approach, feeding everything to one probe, all the different services. I think we'll need an approach where, the Gigamon visibility fabric will be able to separate the different services and feed them to specialized probes and monitoring solutions.
Yeah, well, that's very true, Michael. Shazad, would you like to add to what Michael was just talking about? You just mentioned Gigamon effect.
I think Michael's spot on, right? You're going to need to be able to differentiate or have visibility at different services. And in fact, I would partition it to three different things, right? Visibility at the subscriber level, because ultimately you need to know who your paying subscribers are. You can have a family of 4, and if the kids are consuming 80% of the network bandwidth of your plan, but the dad is paying for for the entire plan, you want to make sure his questions, his queries, his concerns get answers, because he's the paying member. So you need visibility at the subscriber level. You need visibility at the service level, of course. You also need visibility at the application level. I think one of the big things about 5G is, it is going to create an opportunity for a whole new breed of applications, perhaps applications that we can't even imagine today. Imagine 4G as an example. You would not have, Uber or the entire gig economy on 4G as an example, right? It opened up entire new industries. I think 5G will do the same. It'll open up new industries, but we will have to make sure that whatever industries, whatever applications get spawned off as a result of 5G, you can manage. You have visibility to those specific applications as well, so you can actually accelerate those new deployments, those new applications, those new industries as well, right? So I think 3 levels, in my view: subscriber level, service level, and at the application level, and you need all of those 3 to make this successful.
Yeah, exactly, Shazad. Lorenzo, I'll let you finish off this question.
Well, I mean, I fully agree with all the other panelists in this sense, and I think that having the visibility at subscriber level, application level, is what I call end user experience personalization. We will go for a higher segmentation of this. So in parallel to the quality of experience, we need to understand even the behavioral aspects, and provide the right answer that take into consideration what as a user, and my expectations are different from my kids' expectation, as I said. And in this sense, this will drive to a less and less or lower tolerance to the service degradation. And then if I can expand a bit more, we talk about additional applications that are not existing today. Maybe application on some vertical, on industrial or automotive, where the service degradation will be extremely impactful. And I think we need to revise even significantly, completely our approach to the quality of experience. And of course, reacting in near real time, it's a must. But I think that for this specific app, even the ability to predict the service degradation and the quality degradation and act before this will happen will be the key to fulfill the promise, especially for, of course, the human application, as I said, where the tolerance to the degradation will be less and less. But especially for the new app, the new business area that will be opened by 5G, where degradation, let's take an example on automotive or remote driving, will have an immediate and huge financial impact on the operation. So I think we need to go predictive, and of course, as I was saying before, leveraging more and more the levers that the artificial intelligence applied to a new digital ecosystem like 5G can give us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true there, Lorenzo. And it's good that you mentioned about the financial aspects there, because it leads well into the next question, which I'll actually direct to you first, Michael, if you like. What can operators do to make sure that their 5G investments are maximized and ongoing costs minimized as they grow their 5G infrastructure?
I think this will be interesting because in the end, there was talk about subscribers before, and Lorenzo now mentioned also the IoT bits and the famous car manufacturers that equip their cars with 5G communication. And I think these are two completely different fields to play to, and they're competing for the same resources. And also, as Lorenzo said, they will have priority, or they will demand priority. And I think the risk and the opportunity and the risk for the operators will be, to have big customers in the IoT domain that they need to satisfy, which may use services which have priority over, our standard, family dad and his kids subscriber base. But still, you want to keep those as well. So again, it's all about keeping the complexity under control. And I think if you want to look at the cost structure and the ongoing cost, I think you will need intelligent monitoring solutions, because I don't see it that our customers, the operators, will increase the headcount or the budgets or whatever for the 5G. Everything has been going down over the past few years, and I don't expect this to change significantly. So the solution must be, to keep the complexity under control, smart monitoring solutions.
Yeah, certainly for the same services is going to be a challenge, that's for sure. Yeah. Shehzad, would you like to comment more on that particular question?
I think these are absolutely the right points that people have talked about. 5G is, as we talked about earlier, has several new pieces, everything from the RAN side as well as to the core, and investing where there is return is going to be pretty important. Knowing ultimately what parts of the investment are going to monetize quickly versus what parts of the investment will take time to monetize is important, because it drives the investment philosophy. And so I think being able to identify that is pretty critical. Being identify different use cases and needs, for example, dealing with IoT, as was talked about, dealing with ultra low latency as an example, may have very different requirements and needs, and being able to really manage those independently, I think, is going to be pretty important.
Yeah, definitely. Lorenzo, would you like to add something to what Shehzad and Michael just talked about?
Of course, when we talk about 5G, Shehzad was mentioning, look at the return of investment, be conscious on the way this will be introduced. And it's also true, and it's based on the reality, that 5G will have a phased approach. Today we have already up and running non-standalone, networks. Standalone will come first, but probably, the first, massive introduction of ultra reliable low latency will arrive later on. And it's plenty of action that operators can take, even from a technology perspective, to have and facilitate this phased approach. With some technologies like the dynamic spectrum sharing as the initial phase to start to introduce 5G, waiting for the 5G terminal to be present and distributed in the network. But at the same time, we even talk about I would say complexity, right? And of course, complexity will be one of the challenge. But looking at the complexity only from my perspective is missing the forest for the trees. As I said, 5G is complex because it's very powerful, and there's the need from an operator perspective to use all the levers or the capability and possibility and turn all the knobs that the 5G will help. And this will help in having in a phased approach and investment waiting for the 5G maturity. One thing more, it's about and it was stressed, I was saying in the very first answer, there is a need for a mindset shift. Abandon the old siloed solutions, verticalized solution, and go more open, more horizontal. And this will help in a second phase to be very fast in integrating new services, new application, and even reusing all the innovation and good things that the company and the ecosystem around can provide. There are too many waves, and we cannot, and CSP cannot serve all in the same time. So we need to create an open environment where everyone can easily be integrated and cooperate.
If I may add also, by the way, I think this is an important point. One of the things we have not talked about is, in some sense, the role of multi-access edge computing or mobile edge computing in this world of 5G. Again, that's going to be an integral part of essentially enabling a whole new breed of applications that can truly take advantage of 5G. That also brings its sets of complexities and challenges, right? Imagine a customer or a new industry that's using this model, and they have their applications hosted in the mobile edge core, which is now the cloud is closer to the edge, and that edge is being provided by, let's say, AWS or somebody else. As an example, how do you troubleshoot that kind of a scenario where you have traffic going from the end device, over a really new RAN into a standalone core, into a cloud provided by somebody else? And where are the bottlenecks in all of this? And how do you troubleshoot all of this, right? So this is, it's non-trivial, but I do think what Lorenzo said is spot on, which is that the more you move towards, open trials and open technologies, and rather than having these in silos, the better it will be to get end-to-end visibility and to have better applications, better service assurance for the applications, for the users. I'm a big supporter of that perspective.
And one point more, Shazad, I think already today, when we talk about end-to-end, is not anymore the old one. I mean, the contents are in majority flowing from the external the part of the not in their network, in the operator network. So already today we have the situation where, in order to control, for example, the quality of video OTTs, we need to look at a larger, take a broader view and be able to monitor, control, and detect issue from components that are outside the operator's domain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great points there. Asama, would you like an opportunity to?
Yeah, I can't agree more with everything that you guys are saying. One of the things, you put it in a different point, is that this complexity will require in 5G the whole concept of automation to come up front. We are in Viavi, we are involved, as I said, we're involved in a lot of areas of 5G today. For example, in the field, to deploy antennas and to deploy and test, there is so many different technologies that was not there before, and assuming that you're going to scale your field technicians to be able to do this, not going to happen. I think somebody mentioned they're not going to hire more people. So, the only way to actually do it with the scale that 5G is going to come is automation. Automation from everywhere, from the time you actually think about how you're going to build the service, all the way to deploying and managing and optimizing. And I think this is a key that, the ecosystem we talk about. That's why we are all here in this, panel. We bring in this kind of ecosystem mentality that can help automation. I think operators are going to look at all of us together working to actually bring this automation into the forefront.
Yeah, working together, that's for sure. Yeah, that's excellent. So you're sort of leading on to all the points that were discussed in the previous questions and so on. How would you see, just to wrap it all up, how would you see Gigamon with the various joint solutions helping to increase the agility and to address a lot of the challenges we just discussed? Shahzad, I think I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, sure. So, as we talked about, 5G does hold a lot of promise. But 5G, has complexity associated with it, and with that complexity comes the promise of entirely new industries. So it's not a bad thing; it's actually a good thing. But in order to ease a little bit of that complexity, in order to speed up the deployment, I think it'll be really important to focus resources on what matters, and that really means is getting visibility into what matters, right? We talked about making sure that you have visibility at the subscriber level, at the service level, at the application level, and being able to discern between every one of these and making sure that the tooling actually has the right visibility is going to be pretty important. And that's really the key role that Gigamon plays, which is giving you the visibility for what really matters. And I think with that approach, you have the ability to not just potentially reduce the cost of the entire 5G deployment, but you have the opportunity to actually accelerate a 5G deployment, not just from an operator perspective, but also from an end user, from an application, from an industry perspective as well, right? So I think it's a pretty critical role, and that role is played not just by Gigamon, it's played with all the partners that Gigamon works with, right? And we have some of them over here on the bridge, so I'll let them talk to a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Shahzad. Yeah, I think we'll pass it over to you, Lorenzo, if you don't mind.
No, thanks. I mean, I fully agree with Shahzad, and from my perspective, I mean, of course, we need the data with the right granularity, the right quality, providing us the maximum level of visibility. But at the same time, we need to change the way we collect the data, because I mentioned before, we need predictive approach, we need AI, and for AI and big data analytics in general, the right data are the oxygen. Without this oxygen, I mean, our animal will die. And in this sense, we are looking to, solutions that are different from the one of today. Big data pipe or pipeline, very complex way to collect the data. And recently, I think it was last week, we recently, have a joint press release where, together with Gigamon, we were able to provide a probless solution to extract the data and analyze the video streaming OTTs, provide a near real-time quality of experience, and be able to inject all this high quality and resolution data in our analytics engine for a closed loop optimization and automation. I think that's, I mean, we started our discussion a long time ago, and we were absolutely interested in your proposal and your capability, because I think it's exactly going the right direction. Find easy, not verticalized solution to extract the oxygen. Our trees to let within us breathe as we need.
Yeah, no, that's great. That is true. All right, Saleh, would you like to follow on?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and we, as we are talking about the complexity of 5G, and actually even the openness, we are part of the Open RAN, and tomorrow there is a discussion about the real-time controller, REC controllers, and this requires an immediate visibility into the data so that you can actually make intelligent decision on how you can optimize and self-optimize the network. And I think this is where the visibility working with Gigamon and where we can work together is providing these kind of solution that you get the visibility on a virtualized environment from anywhere, and then you can bring these data into the right place where it matters, and you can make the right decision and automate the whole solution. I think this is where an ecosystem like this is definitely required.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Michael, I'll let you wrap up this question, unless someone else wants to.
Yeah, you can add something. Yeah, just while listening, I was just thinking about two things actually. there was, I think, agility comes from, fast feedback loops. So on the one side, you need to have a view into the application level, into the user experience. So because in the end, that's what matters. And on the other end, you need to make this, all of the data that is accessible, that is flowing through the network, accessible to the operations teams. So basically, you need what Lorenzo called prediction, others call machine learning. We call it intelligence, whatever. It's all the same. It's summarizing, basically condensing the data to meaningful information. I think that's key to agility, and keeping a close eye on the user experience, because there's no point in gathering data that is not not impacting the user itself.
No, that's so true. That's exactly right. Yeah, well, there's no doubt. Is anybody else with any other comments you'd like to finish on before we wrap up today?
I mean, the only thing I'll maybe just kind of wrap up is echo everything that's in some sense said, right? Which is that we are at the early stages of a pretty big shift in terms of cellular technology, right? I mean, if you go back historically, it's taken a decade for every technology to really gain a footprint, right? So 2010 to 2020 was 4G, 2000 to 2010 was 3G, right? 1990 to 2000 was 2G. It's a decade, so we are at the first innings, really at the early start of the 5G decade, right? But I have no doubt that this is going to be a pretty spectacular one when it comes to what 5G will truly enable. But the key to all of this is as Michael said, is agility, which is making sure that the investments in 5G take place in the right direction. The partners that work to provide the analytics, we have them over here: Voip Future, Viavi, Nokia. They work together along with Gigamon in bringing visibility into the specific areas that are needed to drive success. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this decade unravels.
Yeah, me too. That's for sure. Anybody else like to comment? If not, then I really appreciate everybody being on the panel today. It was some really good information that came out of that, and good discussion there. So once again, I'd like to thank Michael, Lorenzo, Sama, and also Shazad for joining us. And have a great day.